So welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. I know that 11:30 for a bar show is still considered relatively early, so we really appreciate you guys being here to listen to this particular talk. It is. Thank you for the great introduction from Emily. It's actually become a great lifeline for a lot of people, and one of the things that I found is that everybody worked really well together in the last year and a half. There were, with all the stuff that we dealt with, there were a lot of silver linings in terms of small companies helping other small companies to put products in front of a lot of people, to make those products available to a lot of people that wouldn't have found out about it otherwise. And so the panel that we have together for you here is a really fascinating group of people in different channels. So Andrea's here representing Campari, so she is the supplier in this scenario, right? Anna's from Shaker and Spoon. Shaker and Spoon is a software. Wow, is a cocktail subscription service that is nationwide, but doesn't deal with alcohol, so it can ship anywhere, anytime, but does not actually ship alcohol. And then Curiada, Joanna from Curiada, she is that sort of missing link that actually allows people who are looking for Andrea's products to be able to get them at home. So even though they can get the Shaker and Spoon box anywhere, they may not necessarily be able to get some of these fun, more esoteric products in their markets. So the first person that we're gonna have starting here is Andrea from Campari. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Johnny. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, so I'll try to maintain this level of voice. Sure, thank you. So I'm really excited to be with you guys today. This is one of the most fun parts of my job, and I think one of the most dynamic parts of our industry that's rapidly evolving and changing, e-commerce marketing. So I'm going to give you a bit of a brand's perspective on how we look at this in relation to sort of the rest of the marketing mix and make some of the choices and decisions that we have been over the last couple of years. All right, so everything begins with the shopper or consumer journey. And we know that that has been evolving rapidly over the last few years. And we also know that it is going to continue to evolve. So we're paying a lot of close attention to what are the new marketplaces that are popping up, like Curiada, which is more new and recent. What are the right places and touch points across a really robust journey that makes sense for our brands? Now, we know today's shopper is really channel and device agnostic. So they are looking for the most comfortable, the most seamless, the most frictionless experience that they can find. But one of the key things that all of our teams across our marketing teams, our sales teams, and our trade or customer and channel marketing teams is really understanding where that consumer shopper is today and how we make every touch point where we engage as easy and simple as possible and as few clicks away from being able to actually purchase us as often as possible. So digital has really changed how consumers behave. I think this everyone is very clearly aware of. Yes, e-commerce is, in many instances, another incremental revenue stream, but it's more than that. It is also another brand building moment and opportunity. So yes, there's a lot of activity you can do, and you can focus your objectives on driving sales, which is a big part of what we do in this space. But we know that 50% of sales, retail sales in general, online or offline, are influenced by the experience consumers have online. So look at that whole bottom portion of that iceberg, right? That's a whole lot of activity that people are looking at and doing online that is not resulting in an e-commerce sale in that immediate moment, but they might go to an account later that afternoon and order an Aperol Spritz. Or they might end up in their liquor store that weekend and end up purchasing a product there. But it's recognizing that e-commerce platforms and partners, yes, they're a sales channel, but they are also a brand building channel that critically influence purchase in that moment as well as outside that in the offline world as well. So as we think about how we want to show up in this space, it's really interesting as we see that prime, eye-level placement becoming increasingly elusive. So an interesting example up here, you take the shelf at a retail store, over 100 SKUs, pretty typical what you would see in many stores. Then you get to a desktop digital experience, you're looking at 15 SKUs, right, on that first page of search results. Then you take that to mobile, where more and more consumers are increasingly purchasing their products. You're now looking at 2 products on that first page. Why is this important? So let's take a real life example from one of the platforms. Let's look at Instacart. Let me see if this works. Oh, it does, great. So in Instacart, a company that is valued at over $38 billion, reaching over 82 million households, 70% of their beverage alcohol sales come from that first line that consumers see, that top row that consumers see when they go online. That's a really significant amount of sales. It really reinforces how important what we call the digital shelf is across our different partners in that space. But it's not just about that. Just in the same way in the world as it has been, it's not just about where your product is on shelf. There's also multiple other touch points that lead up to that moment. The same way there is in an on-premise account and an off-premise account. So at Campari, our approach is to really consistently show up at scale at those right key touch points. And that can take many different forms. So one example you see up here is a portfolio solution around grand, spicy, or smoky margaritas. So you can see here a banner that showed up on one of our partners' homepages with Espolón Tequila, Grand Marnier, Ancho Reyes Chile Liqueur, or Montelobos Mezcal, really reinforcing a solution for consumers around margaritas at the right time. Or it can take the form of custom boxes and packages with partners such as Shaker and Spoon. And here on the left, you can see one that is available right now on their website in anticipation of Negroni Week, which is the week of September 13th. Well, we're really embedding Campari into that at-home occasion as more and more consumers over the last 18 months have become really interested in learning how to make more cocktails at home. Or it could even take the mode of expression of search results. So wanting to show up in organic and paid search results in new ways. So we've been revamping our owned digital footprints to optimize them to show up as often as possible in that organic search result when customers are looking for our brands or our categories or solutions or drink solutions that we know we can provide. So for example, how to make the best spritz. We absolutely want to make sure Aperol is showing up there in a very clear way. So these are a couple of key pillars that we think about on a regular basis that drive a great online experience and great engagement with our brands across all different platforms. How is the product showing up? How is it represented? Do you have up-to-date product images? Do you have a variety of images? So, we've seen increased confidence and higher sales when we have multiple different types of photography attached to our products when they're available. Lifestyle, recipe, and basic bottle imagery. Do we have great reviews and consumer engagement? Again, increasing the confidence and ease with which a customer can make a choice online. How discoverable is our product? Where are we making sure we show up? And that we have really strong copy and motivating copy attached to where we're showing up to educate and answer any questions the customer might have at that moment in time. So those are two of the most influential factors in driving a great engagement and great experience online. Now, this is an attempt to map some of the services, okay? There are some missing from here. I deeply apologize if I've missed one that you like to use or that you have co-founded, because there's so many new ones popping up all the time. But the most important thing here is to really think about which ones are the best fit for your brand. So when you're thinking about that, you're thinking about who is your audience, who is your target consumer, what kind of audience do these different platforms reach that are the best fit for you. The other thing to think about are what are the different activities that these platforms offer. And you'll notice on different brands at different times of year, different activities with different platforms will give you different results. I just said different a whole lot of times. And I think this will lead into something I talk about later, which is just doing a lot of testing and learning. But you will find that one platform, maybe an email blast that they do to their consumers, is much more effective at driving a higher click-through rate and then potentially leading to actual conversion on site than, say, the same thing at the same time through another platform. And those are only things you're going to learn as you try to do them. So I highly encourage, testing and learning with as much, from an informed perspective as possible, but there is no clear playbook on what the best solutions are, and they vary depending on the brand, depending on the message you're trying to get across, and depending on the platform and how closely they engage with you to co-collaborate on something that feels really organic and authentic. All right, so if you're a brand and you're wondering, how do I start? Or you've likely started, but maybe how do I improve? What are a few key things I can think about? So I just mentioned one of them. Do not be afraid to test and learn. Like, this is what everybody is doing. They are making the best informed choices that they can with the amount of information that they know, partnering with other platforms that are also sharing and collaborating on what would make sense for their audiences, and trying it. These are a couple of examples of some stuff that we found worked well, but this is just a small fraction of what we're doing. And we really are taking a look at what we can learn from everything we try in this space. So here you see Grand Marnier storefront banner for Cinco that generated 75% new consumers. So these are people that purchased the brand on that platform for the first time ever, according to the platform's data. We're trying different placements of our brands and those solutions in different categories, with the Aperol Spritz with Aperol and Cinzano Prosecco in the wine category, and then cross-merchandising the same way you would, in an offline retailer, with the food pairing with Sky Vodka, in the fish aisle, the digital fish aisle, which generated new consumers. And in the spirit of transparency and inspiration that this session is all about, here's some competitive examples that continue to sort of push the envelope in different ways of bundling your message and your products to solve for a consumer occasion or a consumer need. So I think what I really like about these examples, which all come from Instacart, and they're all competitive to ours, but they're based in what is the ultimate end consumer experience, and you bringing that to life as much as possible. So getting ready for summer, you're getting ready to either have your small group of friends over or start some of those celebrations, or you're getting ready for the big game, which can be the NBA playoffs, or insert sport of choice. Okay, another key concept is consistency. So this is not a new concept. Many of you, I'm sure, are already doing this, but it's about really being diligent about the fact that we know, in general, not even just in the digital realm, but consumers need to see things more than once for it to resonate, be impactful, and drive any kind of perception or behavior change. So knowing that, and knowing that number is at around five exposures to a message before they actually have a behavior or perception change, we try to be very consistent to help consumers on that journey. So it doesn't feel like a brand new message each time, that there's like something in there that sticks in their memory. So Aperol is a really good example. I think online and offline, we're very consistent about how we show up with that brand, really bringing to like the vibrancy and the joy of the moment, real clarity about the occasion, and constantly educating about how to make the best Aperol Spritz. So the #1 cocktail in Italy, the number 10 in the world, where we're just trying to bring our key messages really clearly and consistently to our consumer. Another good example is Sky. So we recently relaunched this product, new pack, new positioning, enhanced liquid. So it's now made with water, enhanced with Pacific minerals. And we had a suite of different assets that we created for this. And in the spirit of the previous principle of testing and learning, we actually tried the lifestyle advertising. We tried traditional just brand blocking with the logo and with the bottle. We tried copy that was very conversion oriented and almost trying to lift what we would do in store online. And what we found performed the best almost across all platforms was the lifestyle imagery from an e-commerce perspective, which was really interesting. We weren't actually necessarily expecting that. We were expecting a bit of a different response. So the beautiful thing about e-commerce marketing is that it allows you to see these learnings and optimize in real time. So you can update that creative and ensure you're getting like the best return on your investment as quickly as possible. Okay, and lastly, it's about being clear on your purpose or your objective. What are you trying to achieve in this channel? I mentioned at the beginning that yes, it's an incremental revenue stream. Yes, you're trying to close a sale, but also recognizing the role it can play in building your brand. So there's different tactics you will choose based on which objective you have more at the forefront of your mind. So if you're trying to drive trial, you're gonna think about how you're partnering with the direct-to-consumer delivery services that are being very clear about how to use your brand and bringing it to life, like in the Negroni box with Shaker and Spoon, or something we did with Cocktail Courier with Sky during Pride Month and the lavender cocktail, as an example. If you're trying to drive more awareness, big visibility on high reach platforms, might be what you're going for, but it might not deliver the immediate conversion in that channel, but you understand that that's where consumers are, that's where they're discovering new products, and it'll result in sales in the channel and outside of the channel, as an example. And my last slide, I swear, is about driving traffic. So, the concept of build it and they will come, I don't think anyone in this room subscribes to that anymore. You really need to know where your consumer is and drive them to where they can convert to purchase. So for brands, it's not as often the brand site anymore. Like typically we always drove to the .com. Now, more and more, and what you see here is an example of a collaboration ad we do on social media that drives to some of our marketplaces like Minibar or Drizzly or Reserve Bar. It's really making sure that we are making it as easy as possible and as few clicks as possible for consumers to purchase our products when they are experiencing us and seeing us online. So thinking through how you do that. There's also now some suppliers that are doing whitelist paging for some of the brands within the marketplace. So this space is constantly evolving, but just thinking about how you want to show up here and make sure you're not leaving any what we call dead ends anywhere in your digital ecosystem. So a dead end would be someone's there, they see your brand, but they are not clear on how they could purchase it in that moment. You want to make sure you're always giving them that clarity and ease to get to that point. And so that is really what I had to share with you guys. This is just a bit of a summary. Ensure you have a super strong digital shelf. Avoid dead ends, make it easy for them to convert. Think about the consumer occasion first and recognize that this channel is evolving and growing every day. So stay open to new opportunities and always test and learn.
Oh, you can totally clap. She's fantastic. So there we go. So this is a great intro. So what we really wanted is for Andrea to set the stage, so to speak, right? So she's coming to you as the supplier and explaining to you, for those of you in the audience. Actually, show of hands, how many of you are suppliers? Great. And then how many of you are purchasing, either consumer level or trade level, purchasing from suppliers? Okay, so we've got a lot of this channel in here. So this is actually great. Everybody's going to learn quite a bit from this particular panel. So, and now we're going to move on to Anna from Shaker and Spoon. And so she's going to, actually, it's great that she's sitting in between the two because she's the connector between these two channels. And she's the one that actually helps them get their products out through Curiada. So, for example, right? So take it away. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Andrea, for that really great start. So many good points about digital marketing that I have to start off by just co-signing on. Oh, can you hear me? There we go. Yeah, testing and learning, so key. So many key points here at the takeaway. So, I won't retread that ground since we just went over it. And I'll talk a little bit about Shaker and Spoon. So we are a subscription service, right? If you've never heard of us before, the elevator pitch is Blue Apron for cocktails. So it's like Blue Apron, but it's so much better because instead of dinner, it is cocktails. And as we are a subscription service, our communication and marketing goes beyond bringing in new customers or bringing in returning customers for another sale, because once they sign up with us and join the community, they're there, they're getting charged every month, and a lot of our marketing focus is on retaining them so that they don't go away. So there are a few major components to this. The first, most important, is the quality of the product. Every month is a different box, so it's, lightning speed, breakneck, R&D, but we can't lose sight of the fact that every month it has to be a quality product that is surprising and delighting everyone. Number one key to keeping them. Number two is the customer experience. So even if a particular theme or cocktail turns out not to be their cup of tea or booze, a lot of our subscribers find the learning opportunity to be very valuable. It's kind of a journey is the destination service. We have to kind of make sure that people understand that it's valuable in and of itself, that it's an exploration journey. So, even if 1 month they're not liking what they're tasting, they're enjoying the experience of getting an education, developing their palate, figuring out what they like and don't like, and understanding it through that lens. And that includes customer support, which is essential to our marketing. Because every time a customer comes to one of our customer experience specialists, even if they're mad, even if they're coming with a problem, we think of it as an opportunity for them to have a really wonderful touch and experience with our brand that maybe turns everything around for them, and maybe it makes them an evangelist. The excellent support they receive, I've seen it happen, crisis into an opportunity. So providing exceptional customer support has really been part of our marketing strategy from day one. It works. That's marketing too. So both of those things are a really big part of how we build trust with our community, right? We were founded in 2015. We're about to have our 6th birthday. Some of our subscribers have been with us since 2015. They have been around. They have tried a lot of boxes. They have tried a lot of alcohol. They have, tried a lot of what we've created for them, and not only created, but recommended, right? Because we don't manufacture the alcohol. We don't ship it. We just suggest what they should buy to pair with the box, and they go out and buy it. So that kind of trust is why they're so excited every month for the reveal. They're excited for the upcoming box reveal, but they also get really excited about the recommended brands, There's usually a small gap between revealing the upcoming box and then revealing what are the recommended bottles that go with it that you should go out and get. And if that delay is just a little too long, people are pounding down the door, like, these drinks look great, but like, I'm going to the liquor store tonight. What are the bottles? Where is the photo? Where are the descriptions? What am I buying? And, it just goes to show that trust that we've built up over the years through that quality and customer experience. And, they're just asking, they just can't wait. And that's part of what makes our partnerships every month so successful. Because our community knows that we only recommend brands that our bartender partners stand behind. And, they're not just like getting recommended something for no reason. It's going to be something good. And they know part of what they sign up for us is being introduced to new flavors and ingredients through the box, but also through the recommended alcohol brands. It's all part of the journey, So they always look forward to see what we're spotlighting each month. Not only the cocktails, but also the bottle. And I see testimonials over and over. I would never have tried this bottle if it weren't for Shaker and Spoon, but now I'm on my 10th bottle. Like, it's been in my bar ever since, and I never would have discovered it if it weren't for Shaker and Spoon.
Or I never liked Scotch before. I've always hated Scotch.
Oh my goodness, it's so true. Our most recent box is called Summer Scotch, and the idea of it was, you've never seen Scotch cocktails like this. Scotch isn't what you think it is. It's not just for sipping in your lounge by your fireplace. You can have really fun. Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's right. That's a Summer Scotch box. So many testimonials this month, like, wow, I didn't think Scotch was for me. I didn't even think I was going to like this. I went out on a limb because I trust you, and now I'm putting Scotch in my bar. So another key thing for us is social listening, right? Taking in all of that feedback and learning from it. We have an incredibly active Facebook community, over 13,000 people, filled not only with subscribers, but fans of the brand and wonderful resident experts, brand reps, bartenders, all sorts of people who are there also to listen and give advice. Souther Teague, who many of you may know, I don't know if he's in the audience, but he's in the group and he has a huge fan base. There's almost like a subgroup that's a book club for I'm just here for the drinks. And, they're loving it, and the whole group is trying different Amari all the time, thanks to Souther. He's a huge influence. But we're always listening in there to see what our community is looking for, and then figuring out if we can deliver and how we can deliver. And that was the inspiration for me for our partnership with Curiada. Our original premise was, okay, we don't ship the alcohol for a lot of reasons. I think a lot of people in this room know it's very complicated, and we already have a lot of challenges, and we're going to focus on our actual product. We own our manufacturing, doing our bespoke syrups, packing our boxes, getting lots of ingredients into that box, 3 different recipes, 4 servings per recipe, 12 cocktails total, which is one of our points of differentiation. So the idea at the beginning is we're going to focus on that, and in theory, the alcohol should be the easiest thing for people to pick up and go to the liquor store. But our audience has grown and grown, and we've realized they're not homogenous, right? For some of them, they have a very close relationship with their local shop. And in fact, some of them like to tip off their local shop. Oh, this is a Shaker and Spoon recommendation for this month, so you can stock it. It's going to fly off your shelf, and their shop will order in cases for them. And that's very fun for everyone. I know Bitters and Bottles does that. But, not everyone has that solution, right? We have some people who live in really remote areas. Some people are really in the middle of nowhere. Like, some people are in remote Alaska. Like, truly, we're shipping all over the country. And we realize we have subscribers that are literally driving over state borders, driving for an hour and a half, spending hours and gasoline.
Just kidding. Nobody crosses state borders with liquor. We have no idea what you're talking about.
Anyhow, they're working very hard. They're devoting half a day or even within their state, going from store to store to store, they really want to try the brand that Shaker and Spoon recommended. It's very important to them. And we need a solution for those people, right? We need a great partner who could ship to them and who would really align with us on customer experience, the support that they receive through the process, receiving the goods, and then alignment on the journey of discovery, because that's what Shaker and Spoon is all about. You know, you think you don't like scotch, you think you don't like Campari, you think you don't like gin, but cachaça, or maybe you've never even heard of it, but stick with us for a few months, try our cocktails, grow to trust us, and before you know it, you're driving 3 hours to buy a bottle of something that you've never heard of on the strength of our recommendation, right? So we love that Curiada's mission is to connect consumers with these hard-to-find bottles and flavors they wouldn't otherwise have access to, because that's our mission too. So one of the things we're doing with Curiada, before I pass the microphone to Joanna, that I love is we're creating a Shaker and Spoon collection on their site that pulls in a lot of our recommendations from the past. It's like a group of alumni bottles, right? So that our community has one central place to go and browse and shop them. You know, many people have discovered them. Now they love them. They need them back in their bar. They can see them all in one place, put them all in their cart in one place. Very easy experience. It's created a lot of excitement in our community because people who've just joined us can go back and see what was recommended before they joined the club. So they compare those bottles with kits from the past that we offer, or they know, like, okay, I've been here for 3 months. I've loved everything for 3 months. I got to go back and see what I missed. So, you know, we had a really high open rate the day that we announced this partnership. People are loving it. And, you know, we're excited to bring it to them because listening to them and then delivering on the request, that's what we're all about. Really important part of our marketing strategy. Just to close the loop. That's it.
Thank you. So, you know, one of the things that's a concept that runs across all 3 of our panelists today is trust. And also, like my mantra, especially having worked in national accounts for a long time, is know your audience. And sometimes it's not only knowing your audience, but knowing your audience's audience. So if you have to go, as a supplier, you have to go and do a presentation to a huge national account, a Cheesecake Factory, Mimi's. You not only have to know the audience of the people that you're presenting to, but you have to know who their audience is. Otherwise, you're shooting in the dark. You're working in a vacuum. It does not work, right? So one of the things that I feel like all 3 of these companies do extremely well is know who their audiences are. And, as Anna said, social listening is hugely important. A lot of times you just see, I'm sure everyone in this room has seen an ad that they looked at the ad and they were like, who do they make this ad for? I really don't understand. I'm seeing a lot of heads nodding. It's just one of those things that's very confusing sometimes. You're just like, I have no idea, who this is for. And so knowing your audience and creating an amazing consumer experience is honestly, I think, what put these 2 together, put Shaker and Spoon and Curiada together. So that leads me into Joanna.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? I'm good? Okay. So yeah, I just want to echo what Andrea and Anna said and touch on what Danny just underlined, which is really about delivering that holistic consumer experience, and that's across all touch points. So that's from communication on through to how they learn about the product, where they learn about the product, to the product itself, to the delivery of the product, to follow up around the product and re-engagement. And I'm really here to talk about our piece of the puzzle at Curiada. Now, Curiada is a craft spirits marketplace. Our mission is to level the playing field for small and emerging brands by helping them bring their products and their rich brand stories to consumers like the curious drinkers of Shaker and Spoon, and helping facilitate discovery exploration, discovery, and this new experience for these consumers. We really saw an opportunity with these smaller brands, what some people call like the long tail brands, to help them get their stories in front of these curious drinkers who are actively seeking new and different experiences, and help consumers get access to those brands, which, as Anna has just illustrated, are quite difficult to find, even if they do have fairly wide distribution. Not everyone has access to them in different places, as you are all very aware of. Yeah, totally.
I was just going to say, I neglected to mention this in my part of the presentation, but of course we love recommending smaller and unique brands. It's all about the discovery. So that's where the partnership with Curiada is key, because it was those smaller brands that people had so much trouble finding, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So similar to Shaker and Spoon, we're really focused on quality, curation, and experience. So we aim to help suppliers do what we call unlock demand through facilitating that discovery process and getting those spirits to consumers. And one of the key ways we do that, so this is an example of some of the rich product descriptions really bringing to life. You'll see, didn't get to capture the whole scroll down, but the lifestyle imagery is definitely key. Evocative experiences for consumers to understand what is the taste going to be like, what is the aesthetic, and what is the real story behind this brand. Why do I choose it? We're also really focused on partnership, as you can tell, because we understand that partners are where a lot of demand creation is happening, and we want to be at the point of demand creation so that we can create that seamless experience that Andrea is talking about, so that when consumers are introduced to a brand, when they get curious about something, that there is a way to close the loop and to actually be able to facilitate them getting access to that brand and really create kind of a win-win-win for everyone involved that actually generates real value for consumers. We have partners along with Shaker and Spoon like Greg Tishin of How to Drink, Juliana McIntosh of Join Jewels, and these are all people that have different verticals where they're speaking to a specific consumer, speaking of knowing your audience, who is interested in something, in the realm of spirits, but slightly different, Shaker and Spoon to Greg of How to Drink. And so we're really providing that back end loop around access and being able to discover these new brands that are being featured. And this focus on cultivating partnerships is really, like I said, about being at that point of demand creation, which is why the partnership with Shaker and Spoon is so natural for us, because of this emphasis on discovery, new small brands, giving people multiple ways to use one product, so that it makes it that much easier to say yes to something they might not have heard of or might not have tried, or something that they've just read about online. I want to just drill down, kind of double click on what success looks like for suppliers in unlocking demand, particularly small emerging suppliers. How does it work practically from our experience, and what can you actually do? So yes, e-com has definitely changed the landscape versus the world where it was just on-prem and off-prem. But the fact is that success in e-com is not so different from prior, the same from the old world. The same key strategies still apply, they just play out differently. And yes, I'm talking about the good old 4 Ps. If anyone here is familiar with marketing gobbledygook, I know it's like 5 Ps now, maybe 7. There might be like 27 by now, but I'm just going to focus on the basics, the fundamentals, because they're still very important. They just play out differently in e-com. Now, of course, there's product. This is about creating exceptional products that meet and exceed consumer expectation, right? And I'm not going to dwell there because I'm sure everyone in this room checks that box. So we can move on to place. So in e-com, and this is really speaking to Andrea's point about you're thinking about not just about driving conversion, but also about what is the brand experience that you're offering? Where do you show up? And who are the e-com partners, the marketplaces that are able to provide that holistic experience for you as a brand to tell your story? And who is going to be able to work creatively with you to really bring your product to consumers and help them understand what your proposition is, give them the opportunity, different creative ways of giving them the opportunity to try your product or engage with your brand. And this is really also about the fact that everyone has limited time and budget, right? In a perfect world, everyone would be everywhere. We all know that. But we really have to make choices and prioritize about where we're going to invest time and where we're going to say, hey, I really want to reach that audience and those consumers, and I understand that's where my people are. And so I'm really going to make the choice to go all in with platforms and co-invest, do co-collaboration in order to really bring the product to life for the consumers through that channel. And this is also about discoverability. So Andrea talked about discoverability, but like, where are you discoverable? Are you one of 1,000 brands as part of the endless scroll? Or are you part of a more considered set? And then the brand piece of that is really, what does that confer to you, apologies, as a supplier and your brand with kind of the cultural company that you keep on any given platform. So the final piece, of course, is price. So price is price, but are there other ways that you can influence perception of value? Obviously, with e-commerce, shipping is a big one, right? Everyone hates paying for shipping. I hate paying for shipping. Everyone out there hates paying for shipping. So you love it. Yeah, well, okay. Shaker and Spoon loves paying. That's right. But this is really, about the fact that what's in your power to help the customer get over some of that hurdle? And are there creative ways that you can think about bundling? Are there creative sampling, like liquid to lips opportunities with the e-commerce consumer that a platform is going to be able to help you facilitate and kind of, logistically help you get your product to consumers so that they can try and hopefully repeat. Really this latest Negroni box with Shaker and Spoon is where you see all of this come to life. So the opportunity really was to, create this valuable, seamless experience for consumers where they're being given this really fun experience through Shaker and Spoon, suggested these great bottles that are part of Campari's portfolio, introduced to Curiada, where they were able to actually buy that product bundle that was part of the recommended set of bottles from Shaker and Spoon, and then really close the loop on that whole circle of creating that valuable proposition for consumers.
So anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming today. This is my Hall & Oates. Thank you very much. My email is over there on the left-hand side. If you have any questions for any of the panelists, because I know that we have to jump to make space for the next panel, we'll have a little bit of time over in the corner for additional Q&A, but shoot me an email. I'm happy to connect you with anybody, and wish you guys all a great second day at BCB, and thank you for joining us, and thank you to my really incredible panel for your time. Cheers.